You're listening to the Lazenby Experience podcast with your host, Joshua Lazenby. The Lazenby Experience podcast is a podcast to help individuals find their way to their success. Whether it's going to a four-year university, community college, trade school, or anything else, my goal is to be a resource to help you along the way. I'll be sharing my personal ups and downs, as well as tips as I continue my journey to receive my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. I will also have guests to share their stories, advice, and experiences. So come along for the ride as you begin your journey to your success. Welcome back to the Lazenby Experience podcast, or if this is your first episode, welcome to the Lazenby Experience podcast. I'm glad you able to stick around and listen to what I have to say. I think today is going to be a very good episode, especially if you're a high school student, whether you're a freshman or a senior. I think this would be great information for you to use as you continue your journey through high school, as well as you start your next life after you graduate. So, as I said, this episode is about giving advice to high school students. I think high school is a very important stage of a person's life. That's where they first start getting real responsibilities and possibly get a job and do that kind of stuff and get involved. So I think advice on how to move forward, navigate that experience, as well as how to use that experience for after you graduate, I think is very important to get advice on. So I will dedicate this episode to high school students. As always, I have my little handy dandy notes on the side to help me along the way. So let's get started. So first I want to talk about is high school. So basically for this podcast or for this episode, I'll be going through my advice about different things you should do while you're in high school, and then the most of the podcast is about different options you might have after you graduate. Some of these options I personally haven't been through, and I think I'll be having more podcasts to examine those things more broadly with guests who has done that, as well as things I have done. And I'll be expanding more on that on future episodes as well. So I do want to start off with advice about high school. So my first thing I want to say is, while you're in high school, try out as many things as you can. When I say try out different things, I mean play sports if you're athletic or want to be a part of a team. Volunteer at as many places as you can, at hospitals, at animal shelters, whatever you can find. Just volunteer, get that experience, networking with other people who can possibly help you in your future. Get a part-time job once you get a certain age. I don't know if you get a job when you're a freshman, but I'm pretty sure you can get a job once you're a sophomore and above. So if you can get a part-time job, not only to make more money, but again to get that experience of working, having bosses you can possibly get recommendation letters from, and that kind of thing, because it's very important to have those kind of networks for once you graduate high school. And then also, if you really want to challenge, possibly start your own business. It doesn't have to be something big like Facebook or Amazon or something like that, but maybe if you want to buy some candy from a grocery store like Costco and then sell it to your friends. Maybe you're very artistic and you can draw. Maybe you can start a business where you're draw for people. Maybe you're a photographer. You can take pictures for people. But definitely maybe even try to start your own business that can turn into something in the future. So those are different options I think you can definitely try. And a lot of things that you do while you're in high school is going to be a lot less risky for you to do it while you're in high school than when you are an adult and you might have a family, you might have rent or mortgage and a car note and all those kind of bills to pay. While you're in high school, most likely you don't have that many bills or any bills as at all. So why not try to start your own business? Why not go volunteer, spend some time volunteering? Why not be a part of a club or organization, even be the leader of that club or organization? So definitely those are things you should try to do. Next thing of advice is learn how you learn. Life after you graduate, whether you believe it or not, if you want to be successful, you have to continue learning. It doesn't have to be at a school, it doesn't have to be at a university, but if you want to get ahead in life, you have to continue learning. So in high school, I think it's the best location, the best spot in your life to learn how you learn. Whether you are, I think it's four different types of learning ability. I don't want to say ability. I can't think of the word, but four different types of learning or ways of learning. It's visual, verbal, physical, and oral. So figure out what best works for you. If you have a teacher that uses PowerPoint a lot, do you learn a lot in that class? Do you have a teacher that talks rather than write down everything? Do you learn a lot in that class? And then just take notes or mental notes. You can take mental notes on how you're learning and what is the best for you. So once you graduate, you'll know what better path to take once that decision needs to be made. I said that. Did that. All right. Next, I think you should do is research where you. Let me see. I said research where you want to go / what you want to do next. So next thing I think you should do is, I guess you really don't have to do this all through high school. Probably you can at least start at your junior year in high school. It's kind of research where you want to go next and what you want to do next. So all through high school, you should be figuring out what you like to do, what you don't like to do, and that's through the sports, through the organizations, through volunteering, through part-time jobs. Those are the different ways of learning what you want to do. And then you want to research how you can do those different things, whether it's going to a four-year university, community college, trade school, working instead of going to school, starting your own business, that kind of thing. So you want to figure out what you like to do and then figure out how you're going to be able to do that. So what you want to do. So I say university, community college, trade school, military, get a job, or continue a business if you started a business while you're in high school. So definitely do a lot of research, and it's not just going on the internet and taking tests and be like, I don't know what they call, but it's like you can take tests and it can tell you the different occupations that you might like best. I mean, you can still take those tests, but it's better to learn from actually doing than learn from taking a test, because learning from experience is always the best way of learning, at least from my experience so far. And then as you're getting closer to graduating, you want to use the resources you have around you to help you make your decision. Now, this decision that you make of what you want to do after you graduate should be your decision, because you're the one who have to live with yourself 24/7. You're the one who has to live with yourself if you go to college and don't like it and go into debt for it. You're the one who have to pay back the loans. You're the one who have to do whatever you decide to do. So make sure the decision is yours, but also use your resources of people who might be able to help you make that decision. So if you have an advisor that you can talk to, a teacher that you like to talk to, your parents or grandparents, a pastor if you go to church, who else? Siblings, if you have older siblings that might have went to college or did something else, ask them why they chose to do what they're doing. So any other leader that you can think of that's in your community, definitely go to them for advice. But again, your decision should be your decision. It shouldn't be, all my parents said I should go to college, so that's what I'm going to do. You should be like, I want to go to college because I want to do this or X, Y, and Z, and I have to go to college because I have to do X, Y, and Z. So make sure the decision that you make, the final decision that you make is yours, but definitely use your resource to help you along the way. And then the final thing I have advice about for high school students while you're in high school is focus on grades. You always want to get the best grade as you can, as possible, especially if you plan on going to a 4-year university. And the reason why I say grades last is grades are not. I don't want to make you feel like you shouldn't get good grades. But in high school, grades, even sometimes in college, grades are not the most important thing that you get out of school. Because once you graduate high school and you go to your next level, whether it's college, trade school, whatever, those grades mean nothing. But those relationships that you make, those networks that you have, those experiences that you have, those go with you as you graduate. So again, still want to get as best grades as you can while you're in high school, but if you get a B instead of an A in a class, but you got that B because you was out volunteering all every weekend, you was a part of an organization, you was a leader of a club, that's gonna look a lot better on your resume when you're trying to do whatever you're trying to do after you graduate. So definitely focus on grades, but making sure you have those experiences to go along with it. So those are my different advice. That's my advice as you're going through high school. Now, once you graduate high school, you're definitely more of an adult than you were when you were in high school. And I say this because once you turn 18, you're legally allowed to move away from your parents. If you live with your parents or your grandparents, you're legally allowed to do a lot of things that you weren't able to do while you're in high school. So these decisions that you make will ultimately affect what happens to you for the rest of your life. Now, it doesn't have, just because you make a bad decision now, doesn't mean it's gonna be bad for the rest of your life, but it can make it a little harder if you don't make a decision, or it doesn't have to be the right decision, but if you don't make a decision that you want to make right now. So at this time, I am going to go over the different things I believe you can do after you graduate high school. Go over the pros and cons of those different options, and then have some questions for you to ask yourself to see if that's a good option for you. So like I said at the beginning, some of these options I personally haven't been through, so I did a lot of research to figure out the pros and cons of what kind of questions to ask. But some of them I did go through or am currently going through, so I do know it from personal experience. And like I said, also these, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different options that you can do after you graduate. I think I'm going to expand on those even more with other episodes, but right now I just want to give you kind of a glimpse of each of those different options I think you can take. Now, there might be more different options. There might be other options that you already decided, which is great if you made that decision for yourself. But if you don't know what you want to do, if you're just thinking about doing what your parents told you should do or whoever told you should do, I think you should listen and kind of do your research after I talk about this as well, just to see what options are best for you. So without further ado, my first option I think that can possibly work for you is going to a 4-year university. Now, a lot of students who graduate high school, that's their decision to go to a 4-year university, whether it's their decision, whether the parents said that's what you have to do, whether their friends are going so they think they should go. That's what a lot of people do. So just to go over a few of the pros and cons. First, pros I think I should go over. I think going to 4-year university, really no matter how big or small it is a big networking community. You'll be around a lot of different students at different stages of their life. You'll be around a lot of professors and professional staff and they are all there to help you. So you are surrounded by basically a big support system. So no matter what your major is, no matter what you want to get out of going to college, you have that big network of people already in that one kind of secluded area. So you can, a lot of organizations have different networking events or programs that they put on. Professors have office hours and stuff like that where you can go and talk to them, or advisors have different office hours that you can go and network or talk with them about different decisions that you might want to make. So that's a big plus when going to a four-year university, because you have that kind of set group of people, a large group of people that you can get a lot of advice and network with. Also, another pro for going to college or four-year university is if you want to go to in a specialized field. So if you want to be a doctor of any kind, if you want to be a nurse, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be what else I said? I said lawyer, doctor. So those kind of professions, you have to go to college. Like, there's no way around it, at least at this point in history. You have to go to a four-year university. You have to go to grad school. You have to do those type of things in order to get those type of jobs. So you have to go to four-year university. And then you also have potential to earn more money throughout your career as you continue. So I know there's a lot of students out there who got a four-year university, a college degree, but they are not doing what they want to do. But there are people who go to college, they get a nice job, and they are making more money than they would if they didn't go to college. So that is a possibility. Again, everything is nothing is guaranteed. So, but the potential of having an increased salary once you graduate goes up. And then the last pro I have for university, it can really broaden your mind. So you might be going to school for psychology or music or engineering, but you'll be surrounded by a lot of other people going to school for a whole different other reason that you can talk to, you can network with, where they can give you, show you stuff and give you information about stuff that you never thought existed. A lot of schools also have study abroad programs where you can literally go to a different country and study the subject that you want to study, and learn from a different group of people, learning the same information, but you learn it in a lot different environment than you would if you didn't go to college. So that's definitely a plus. And then, like in high school, college has a lot of different opportunities to be involved in clubs and organizations, or in sports if you are good enough, because college is a different level than high school. But there's a lot of opportunities to not only be a part of those clubs and organizations, but also be leaders in those clubs and organizations. And this is a great opportunity for you to continue to grow different skills that you normally wouldn't get in the classroom, like leadership, time management, organization, that kind of stuff that you normally wouldn't get in the classroom that you still can get at a four-year university. So those are my pros for going to a four-year university. But there, of course, are some cons. The biggest one that I have on my list is going to a four-year university is very expensive, or can be very expensive if you don't have scholarships, which I'll be talking more about in another episode. If you don't have grants that come from the government through FAFSA, which I'll also be talking about in another episode. If you don't have those kind of things, free money, then it can be very expensive. Now, the government, and there are ways to get loans, but of course with loans you have to pay back, which I'll probably be expanding in another episode as well. So it's very expensive. And then again, I think I said this already, but just because you go to a four-year university, you get a degree, you get good grades, does not guarantee that you get a career job, definitely in the field that you study. I mean, it's a better opportunity that you can, because you have that degree that a lot of jobs or companies are looking for, but there might be 10,000 other people who apply for that same job that you want to get, and they have that same degree. So even though you have that degree, a lot of people have that degree as well. So now you have to make yourself stand out. I think I said this as well. Just because you go get a degree in whatever field you want to get it in doesn't mean you're going to get a job in that field. Maybe by the time you're about to graduate, you realize you really don't want to work in that field. You really don't like that field, but you don't want to start over at the school and go for another 4 years, because that's going to be more money and more time. So now you might be looking for a job that's not in your field. And I wouldn't say it, going to a university, I don't think is ever a waste of time if you use it correctly, no matter what you get, no matter what kind of degree you get out of it. But you might not use the degree that you end up getting, but doesn't mean it's a full negative, but you might realize that you could have went for a different major and got more out of it, I guess I can say. And I kind of said this already. You can definitely graduate with a lot of that. Once you graduate, or even if you don't graduate, if you take out loans, no matter if you graduate, you have to pay those back. So those are my pros and cons about going to a 4-year university. Like I said, I probably keep saying throughout this episode, I will be going dig deeper into this subject, but I do want to give a broader information about these different topics that I'm going to be talking about today. So those questions that I have, I think you should be asking yourself before you decide if you want to go to a 4-year university. First question is, do you need a degree? Do you want to do something in your life where you can learn it in a different way, whether it's at a trade school, whether it's a community college, whether it is on your own with YouTube University, which is basically YouTube, and those kind of things. So maybe you have the skills that you already need. You just need to know how to get a little bit better, or how to advertise yourself a little bit better, which you can all find on the internet basically now. Sorry. So that's my first question. Second question, are you following friends? Like, are you going to a 4-year university just because your best friend or because people from your school are going there? The first school that I went to, NIU, I saw a lot of people that I graduated high school with there my first year, but I did not see them there after first or the second semester. I mean, granted, I didn't graduate from there either, but still, there's a lot of people that you might see at at a university that you end up going to, that you saw in high school, or you're friends with in high school, that doesn't make it to the end. So you shouldn't base your decision about going to a 4-year university off of whether your friend is going there as well. Have you thought about alternatives? So, like I said, I'm going to go over some other alternatives, but have you thought about going to community college first? Because your grades wasn't that good. Community college can definitely help give you extra time to go to boost your grades and experience before you decide to go to a 4-year university. Like I said, do you need a degree? So is there another alternative that can be better for you to not have to get a degree for it? Then my last question I think you should ask yourself is, are you ready to choose a career now? So are you ready to make the decision of a major that you're going to use, I want to say for the rest of your life, because I feel like as I can't even say the word, as millennials, and I think it's Gen X, as we get older, I believe we're going to be the generations where we don't stick around for a job for 30, 40 years before we retire. Oh, sorry. So is the school that if you go to university, is it in a career that you're going to use when you first get out of college? Is it the next step that you want to take in your life? So if in those questions, if you realize the university or going to a 4-year university isn't the best choice based off how you answer those questions, definitely go with another option or alternative that I might go over or that you might research on your own. So that's all with the 4-year university. Next is community college. So I also went to a community college, which I think I did it in a reverse. I went to a 4-year university, and then I went to community college. But most people do it community college and then go to a 4-year university. But I have a lot of pros and a few cons about going to a 4-year university, of going to a community college. Sorry. The first pro is it's a lot less expensive than going to a 4-year university. When I went to community college, per class, I probably paid a third of what I would have paid for the same exact class that I paid for if I if I took that class at the university that I went to. So it's a lot less expensive. And then again, you can use those same scholarships, those same grants that you get if you went to a 4-year university, or at least some of them. Maybe some of them might be specific for if you go to a certain school, but a lot of the scholarships that you might get, or a lot of grants that you might get, it doesn't matter what school you go to. It just matters that you go to a accredited university or community college. Next is less time for a degree. So community college also have different programs to get certificates as well, but they're a lot less time than getting a 4-year university degree. Of course, community college, for the most part, is 2 years to get a degree. Some of them have certificates that you might be able to get in even less time, but it's definitely less than going to a 4-year university. Of course, the degree is an associate's degree instead of a bachelor's degree, but at least you have something to your name in a less period of time, and you can still go after a decent job if you want to, instead of going to a 4-year university right after. This is a big one with community college. All of the classes at a community college, when I say all, I mean all of them, are small classes. They are no bigger than the classes you might have at high school. While at a 4-year university, a lot of your gen ed classes might be in a humongous auditorium with 200-300 other students, where the professor will never know your name unless you go talk to them during their office hours, and it becomes harder to grasp the information. While in a community college, you have the classroom setting of maybe 20 students, 25 students. You have the attention of your professor. A lot of them might try to learn your name or put the effort in to learn your name, make it more personal. It didn't make it easier to learn, at least for me, being that it's a smaller size. Another great thing, a lot of credits also transfer over to universities. So if you do want to end up going to a 4-year university after you get your associate's degree, or even before you get your associate's degree, a lot of those credits might transfer over to a 4-year university. So you'll spend less time at the university than you would if you went straight from high school, and you spent a lot less money too. And a lot of community colleges also have programs with 4-year universities where you take 2 years here or at the community college, you get your associate degree, and they have it set where you take 2 more years at the university and you get your bachelor's degree. So you get 2 degrees in 4 years instead of 1 degree in 4 years. Next, it's like a do-over. Going to community college is kind of like a do-over for those who might have not taken high school as serious as others. Maybe you really didn't care about high school. You just skipped all your classes and you didn't do that well, and you barely passed. Now, going to community college, you feel you're more focused and you're more ready when you get a degree. So going to community college, a lot of them, I don't think they check for grades for high school. They just check that you actually graduated, and then you go to a community college. you do very well, you get better grades, and then if you want to transfer over to a four-year university, you can definitely do that. And they look at your community college grades instead of your high school grades, but they probably still want to see that you graduated high school. So that is a big plus for those who want kind of like a do-over to go to a four-year university after. And then I think this is a good one too. Going to community college, you're surrounded by a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. So you'll be able to network with people who might be a lot older than you, who might be in the closer to the field that you want to go to. They just going to the community college to get more skills, or because their job want them to get more skills, so they might be getting the job might be paying them to go to the community college. You might be networking with someone who can help you get a job, or you might be taking a class with somebody who can help you get a job in the field that you want to get into. So when I went to community college, I'm talking a little bit too fast for myself. But when I went to community college, I had classes with people who were a lot younger than me. I had classes with people who were a lot older than me. The professors or the instructors, a lot of them were close to my age as well. So you're going to network with a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds, which is great for you for when you're searching for that first career job or for that next opportunity. But of course, there are some cons to going to community college. The first one being is limited in curriculum. So community colleges usually have a lot less programs available than a four-year university, which is not bad, because if the community college that you want to go to have your program, that's all that really matters. But there is a limited amount of programs that they might have. Even though there is a wider range of students with different backgrounds, the amount of people you can network with is a lot smaller than you would get if you went to a four-year university. Community college that I went to had probably, again, a third amount of people that went to the four-year university that I went to. Again, there is pros and cons to the people that go, because there are a lot of more people who have different backgrounds at a community college, but with a four-year university, you do have that bigger pool. So you just have to weigh that out of what you're looking for. Next, if you're looking for student organizations, of course, a lot of community colleges still have student organizations. But again, because it's smaller, you have a smaller pool of student organizations that you can be a part of. Now, all the schools that I've been a part of, if they're not a student organization there that you want, you can actually start an organization. It can almost be about anything that you want it to be about. I actually started an organization at the school that I go to now about a year or so ago. So I could make an episode about that as well, about starting a student organization. But you can, there is a lot less, but again, you do have the opportunity to possibly create your own. And then the last con I have is student life or campus life is almost non-existent. And it's because of those different backgrounds that you might come across. A lot of them might have kids, or again, they have full-time jobs. So they're going to class just for class, and they're not leaving because they have to go to work, or they have to pick up their kids or something like that. So it's a lot less opportunity to network with those people, but you can still, again, talk to those people before and after class, like right before or right after. But student life, I mean, there is student life. I mean, there are students who go straight from high school to community college who want to be a part of different organizations, who do be there throughout the day and not just for class. So there is opportunities to have a kind of a campus life or student life, but it is not as big of an opportunity as if you went to a four-year university. So those are my pros and cons about community college. Here are my questions that you should ask yourself. And I got these questions from communitycollegereview.com. So just Oh, and I also want to say the questions I got for the 4-year university, I got those from careeraddict.com. That's CAREER addict ADDICT.com. So that's where I got the 4-year university questions from that you ask yourself, and then the questions I got for the community college, I got them from communitycollegereview.com. Okay, so first question is, do you know what you want to study? And this is a great question for community college or for a 4-year university. You don't want to go to a school where you have to pay them money and you don't even know what you want to do. Like you don't want to just take, again, for a 4-year university, even sometimes for a community college, your first couple semesters are going to be normally general education courses. But again, you still want to have some idea of what you want to do, so you can join organizations that's around that or around that major. You can network with people around that major just to have a better experience. So, do you know what you want to do? Do you know what you want to study? Next question. What type of certificate or degree will you be getting? Now, at a 4-year university, you know you're going to get a bachelor's degree, whether it's of science or of arts. But when you go to community college, you could be working towards a certificate, or you can be working towards an associate's degree. So you want to make sure you know what type of degree you'll be working towards. Third question. Do you even want to continue school? Like I said, at the beginning, there are a lot of different ways to learn. You don't have to go to a 4-year university. You don't have to go to a community college to continue your learning. So, do you want to continue that type of environment for you to learn? Is that the best environment for you to learn? If it's not, you might want to choose a different option. And then the last question is, what size school do you think you want to attend? Again, community college is a lot smaller than most 4-year universities. So if you're looking for a bigger environment, a bigger pool to network with, you might want to consider going to a 4-year university. But if you're okay with having a smaller networking pool, having smaller classes, community college can definitely be a good option for you. So those are the different things I have for community college. If you think community college is the best for you, continue doing your research outside of what I talked about today. And then again, if you have any questions that you might want to ask about a 4-year university or community college, because I attended both, you can email me at lazenby experience, that's LAZENBY experience @gmail.com. So those are the two things that I've been a part of or experience or continue to experience. These next ones I have not experienced yet, but I did do some research to figure out what are some pros and cons. Again, I want to continue these conversations on a much deeper level, so I'm going to have other episodes with other guests or with guests, so they can share their stories and their pros and cons, and they can answer a lot of more questions than I can answer. So the next one, one of them I did do, but the next one I have is trade school. So trade school is kind of, is a little bit less than a community college. I didn't even want to say that, but I would say a 4-year university, community college, and then trade school. And I say that order because trade schools are usually have a specific thing that they're working on. So each trade school has something specific that they're working on, or certificate that they're working on, while community college is a lot broader. It has more majors, more programs that you can go into, and then of course a 4-year university has a lot more than that. So a trade school, you're working towards one thing, and most likely everybody else is working towards that same goal. So whether it's being an electrician, being a plumber, I'm pretty sure that a lot more that I should have probably researched too as well. But I did go over some pros and cons about going to trade school. So let's go over the pros first. First one, you're gaining relevant skills. So going to a trade school, You're learning skills that you're going to use right after you get your certificate. While in community college and at a four-year university, a lot of classes are called general education courses, which is like a higher level of high school classes that is not towards your major. Trade school, you're not going to be put through that. You're going to just go to the classes that you need to be successful at the career that you choose. Next, the cost is, again, it's a lot less than going to a four-year university. I don't know a lot about grants and scholarships, but I'm pretty sure they do offer that kind of thing. You might have to do a little bit more research to figure out, well, of course, what program you want to be a part of, and then what kind of financial aid they offer with that program. Next, takes a lot less time, again, because you're not going through that general education courses that you have to when you're going to a four-year university or community college. It takes a lot less time because you're only taking the classes that you need for your trade. High earning potential. So nowadays, trades are you can have a lot of earning potential when it comes to going and getting a trade rather than getting a degree. A lot of trades are looking for more people. They just can't find them because a lot of people rather go to a four-year university because they want to go party or want to go with their friends, or they do want to be a doctor, so they have to go. So going to a trade, you have a better chance of getting a job that you actually went to school to get, and then possibly making more money. And then my last pro is there are a lot of different programs out there. I named a few at the beginning, like being a plumber or electrician, but those are two that I really know and probably a lot of people know about. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other different trades out there that you can go to school specifically for that trade, and you can get your certificate or get your degree, and then continue on that trade even while you're practicing that trade. So, of course, there are a few cons. The first con is limited scope of job opportunities. Again, because you're so limited on the courses that you're taking, it's going to limit you on what jobs you might be qualified to take or be qualified to obtain. But if you're going into a trade that you really want to do, it doesn't matter that it's narrow. It's just you actually have a better opportunity to get that job that you want. But it is a con because if you go into a four-year university, there are majors where it's not specific to a certain trade. So let's say you go into school to be a teacher. You don't have to go to school specifically. You don't have to be a specific type of teacher or specific grade. You can go to school and have the ability to be a K through, 8th grade possibly, or K through 5th grade, or you want to be an English teacher and a math teacher and a science teacher. You can do that at a four-year university. But it is limited in scope when you choose a program with trade school. Next, there's probably a lot limited amount of financial aid you can get with a trade school. I don't think the same money that you get through the government, which is called FAFSA, I don't know if that goes toward trade school or not. Again, when I have my guests, we'll be able to talk more about that. But there is a lot limit. There probably a lot less opportunities, but I'm pretty sure there are opportunities either within the program that you go through, or maybe there's an organization that gives money to students who want to pursue a certain trade. So you just have to do a little bit more research outside of this episode. The third con I put was less opportunity to network with people outside your trade. So like I said, because you're going to a trade school and because you're all going towards the same goal, everyone they don't mean they have the same background, but they're all going towards the same thing. While at a community college or a four-year university, you can be going towards engineering, while the person next to you at your general education course that you're taking can be going towards history or going towards psychology, and you have that networking ability to talk to them, and they can possibly know somebody that can help you, or you can know somebody that can help them, or you guys can help each other in some type of way. So that networking pool again becomes a little bit smaller than the community college, because again everyone is going towards that same goal, and it's not kind of spread out like a four-year university or community college. And then the last con that I have is that a lot of trade schools, they have a rigorous schedule, and when I say that, I don't know how hard the workload is, but I know, at least through my research that I found, was that a lot of them, it's not like community college where you have one semester in the fall, one semester in the spring, and you get your summers off, and you get a month off for winter break. Some programs, they have classes that you take in the spring. They have classes you take in the summer, and then they also have classes you take in the fall/winter as well. And then you have to take certain classes before you can take the next class. So you might have to take a class over the summer so you can take the next class in the fall. So it's a lot less wiggle room with what classes you take. So, but again, you're probably taking a lot less classes at one time, and then the full amount of time it takes you to get that certificate or to get that degree, it's also a lot less as well. So again, there's pros and cons to everything. That's page 2, page 3. All right, so on to the questions that I found, or that I kind of made up myself because I really couldn't find a website, is what is the average wage for graduates? So you definitely want to know. So all these different options, at least the ones that I've given so far, I consider them an investment. It's not just you going to get an education, but you're also investing in yourself, because you're spending money and you're hoping that the money that you spend will help you make more money overall once you finish that program. So you want to know, how much would you be making after you graduate? What's the average amount people make after they graduate? And do you think that's enough in order to be successful at what you want to be successful in, or to live the life that you want to live? Second, it's the trade that you choose. Do you think you want to do it for the next 5 to 10 years? And again, those numbers I put in because I think after you get your certificate or your degree in that trade, the first to fifth year, you're still kind of learning. Even though you're not learning in the classroom setting, you're still learning on the job. You don't know everything once you graduate. You just have the basic skills to be able to do the job successfully, but you also have to learn different things as you're on the job. So is this something you want to continue learning after you get your degree? Is this something you want to continue building upon for the next 5 to 10 years? Because like I said, I think I can't even say the word. I keep messing it up. Millennials and Gen X's, I don't think we're going to have the same job our entire life after we get the degree or after we choose a career. I think we're going to job hop maybe 3, 4, 5 times before we decide that we want to retire or that we want to do something different. So do you want to do it at least for the next, I would say, 5 to 10 years? Next question that you should ask yourself: how long would it take to graduate and get a career job? Like with the community college, you know that most likely would take 2 years. With a 4-year university, that would take 4 or 5 years. In my case, a lot longer, but we're not going to talk about that right now. But going to a trade school, how long would it take you? Would it take you a year? Would it take you a year and a half? Would it take you 2 years? You want to know how long it's going to take you so you know how much money you have to spend in order to get that degree before you can start making money so you can pay off if you have to take out loans or anything like that. And then the last one I kind of talked about already. What are the different financial financial aid opportunities. Again, you want to make sure that whatever program you go into, that you look and see if they have any scholarships that they give out, any grants that they give out. Again, you still want to fill out FAFSA with the government, but I don't know exactly how that works with trade, but you still want to fill it out because it's free. But again, I'll be talking about FAFSA in a different episode. So those are the different things I have for trade school. I think that is a great opportunity. I think if I would have did a little bit more research, I might have went to trade school instead of to a 4-year university first, just because of how much money you can really make at different trades, especially because if I would have did, I probably went for electrician, and I know those type of people do make a lot of money with the different jobs that they have. All right, moving on. I think I have 3 more things, and that will be the episode. But moving on to the military. Now, I put the military on here because a lot of people do decide to go to the military after high school. And honestly, I think the only time I think you should choose the military as an option if it's something that you really wanted to do. It's not based off the benefits that you get from being a part of it, or just the different, I guess basically the benefits. I think it should be something that you actually want to do, because when I go over the cons, I think they are a little bit more, I don't want to say negative, but they're a little harder to get out of if you decide the military. But I got this information about pros and cons from a website called probible.com. Not pro, bro, BRO Bible.com. So the first pro that I have is, if you go to the military, most likely you'll be able to go to college for free, and that's either at a 4-year university or a community college. They have something called the GI Bill, where I know a lot of students who went to both of the 4-year universities that I went to, and the community college, and they're using their GI Bill, and they're not paying for anything. I think some of them might even have their housing covered too. So that's a great pro if the military is something you want to do. Now, of course, the military is broken up into different branches. You have Navy, you have Marines, you have Army. I think it's some other ones, but I'm not exactly sure the names. I should probably know. But there are different branches that have different requirements and different, I guess, ways they use the GI Bill. So definitely do your research before going to the military and saying I get to go to school for free. Next, you basically get a guaranteed paycheck. So even though you might be working wherever you're working at, or whatever camp you might be going to, they do make sure that you get paid a certain amount of money. It might not be the best, but it probably a better paycheck than you would if you worked at a McDonald's or Burger King or something like that. So you do get a guaranteed paycheck, which is good. Next, free healthcare. So you don't have to pay for your healthcare, but of course, as I was doing my research, I seen that just because it's free, you get what you pay for. So it might not be the best healthcare, but it is free. You don't have to worry about paying for it. And then the last pro that I have is you definitely get to travel a lot. Again, because I never been in the military, I don't know how often you travel, or if you get to choose I'm pretty sure you don't get to choose, but you get to, I don't know where you get to go and that kind of thing. But I have had military friends who have gone overseas, who have been stationed in different areas around the country as well. So you do get to have that kind of experience and not have to pay for it. But again, there are some cons to the military. The first one is you can't just quit. With everything else I talked about, if you think you don't want to do it in the middle of it, yeah, you might have some debt, but if you want to quit, you can definitely quit and do something else. With the military, is like you sign a contract basically, or it's not basically, you sign a contract and you say you're going to be a part of the military for a certain number of years, and if you get sick and tired of it, you still have to serve out those years that you said you will. So if there's something that you want to do, you make sure you're committed to it, because you're going to have to do it whether you like it or not. Next con, being away from friends and family for long periods of time. So I don't know exactly how all military branches work, but I have seen where families can be, or military families can be away from their loved ones for 6 months, for a whole year, without physically seeing them. They might be able to call them every once in a while, but they do have to be away doing their job wherever they are stationed. So if you're okay with that, then maybe this could be a good opportunity for you. Next, grooming standards. Again, I got this from a website, so I'm guessing with the military, they want everyone to look a certain way, so you have to have a certain grooming standards. That goes from, I'm guessing, from your hair to what clothes you can wear, to what you put on your face. If you can have tattoos or not, I don't know if you can. I'm pretty sure you can have tattoos, because I think I see a lot of military people with tattoos, but it's a lot of different things that you probably can't do while you're in the military than if you wanted to do it if you was a regular civilian. Next, you have to ask to do basically anything, especially if you want to go back to your family because a family member is getting married, or you have a wife and she's pregnant and she's about to have her baby soon. You can't just up and leave. You do have to ask permission. You have to get permission. It's not just asking like at a job. You might ask for PTO, and then you can go if you want to, whether they approve it or not. But with the military, if they don't approve it, you can't leave, and you're gonna have to stay there. So that's something you might have to live with. And then the last con that I have is could potentially put yourself in danger. So of course, with war, I know everyone doesn't go to war, but I don't know how they pick who does what. But you could be one of the ones that they choose to go to war and put yourself in danger and possibly get hurt or injured. So those are the pros and cons about joining the military. I do want to say that I do appreciate those who do decide to go to the military, because they give me the opportunity to do the things that I want, as well as the loved ones around me to do what they want to do. So I'm glad we do have a military, but I do want to make sure that if you want to go to the military, it is your decision. So here are some questions that I have to help you see if it's your decision. Question 1. Are you fully committed? Are you, like I said, if you sign a contract, you have to do it for that number of years that you signed up for. And I think the lowest number of years you can do is like 4 years. So if you sign up, make sure you are fully committed to being a part of being in the military. Question number 2. Am I fit enough to join the military? So just because you want to go to the military doesn't mean the military wants you to join it. So there are fitness requirements, as well as I think it's like tests you have to take, like paper and pen you have to take, but they want to make sure that you're also in good shape. Being in the military, you do have to do different physical things. You have to run, you have to jump, you have to possibly be able to shoot a gun and that kind of thing. So you have to make sure you are physically fit in order to do that, and they will test you on that, and they will continue to train you on that after you get into it. So are you physically fit, or are you willing to get in shape in order to join the military? Question number 3. I talked about this already, but are you okay with being away from your friends and family for a long period of time? Like I said, some people have to be away from their family for months or maybe even a year at a time, whether they have kids, whether they have a wife, whether they have parents that might be sick. You have to do what the military said you have to do. So are you willing to be away from your loved ones for however period of long time they tell you have to be away from them? Last question for the military. Okay, and I talked about this one kind of already. Are you okay with putting yourself in harm's way? Like I said, every job, I'm pretty sure you are not going to be in harm's way, but there are a lot of jobs where they are in harm's way, where they are shooting at the enemy, or flying towards the enemy, or on a boat towards the enemy. So are you willing to put yourself in that position to get hurt or even worse? So those are the different questions I think you should definitely ask yourself before joining the military. I think the military is probably one of the biggest decisions you'll probably make at a young age. And I'm pretty sure there's an age cutoff too with the military. So if you make that decision, make sure, again, it's a decision that you made for yourself and not a decision that your family, friends, whatever made for you. Next, so I have two more, which I kind of have a little bit experience with, is going straight to the workforce after you graduate high school. So, of course, after you graduate high school, if you did join a club, or if you did have a part-time job, if you did maybe start your own business, you might have a little bit experience, but a lot of companies are looking for 4 or 5 years of full-time experience, not part-time experience. So your job opportunities or job pool might be a little smaller, and I'm kind of going to the cons already, but with getting a full-time job after you graduate, you might be limited on those opportunities. But let's go through the pros first, like I have done with the other ones. The first pro, you can start making money instead of spending money. So all the other ones except one of them, you're spending money first before you actually make any money. So going to making a job, getting a job first, you're definitely making money, and you're not giving it away. So you're not starting off in debt. You're not starting your adult life in debt. You're starting off making a little bit of money. Also put potentially get more work experience. So depending on what kind of job you get after you graduate high school, can propel you to have a lot of more work experience than someone who went to a 4-year university, which can help you get promoted and make more money. So again, you're potentially can make money while you're young, and then also get that work experience that a lot of companies be looking for their higher up paying jobs, like managers and higher level employees. And then the last pro I have for getting a job, it can be easier to move up within a company. So some jobs you might be able to start from the bottom and work your way up to a management position within 4 or 5 years. In that same time, you'll be going to, if you went to a school, a 4-year university, you might have to start a little lower than you would if you went straight to get that job, if you went straight from school to that job. But again, it might be a limited amount of job opportunities for you to do that in. So you definitely want to weigh your pros and cons about that. On to a few cons. I have a few of them. This one I didn't talk about yet, but it might be hard for you to get yourself mentally to go back to school. So some people might say after high school, man, I want to take a year off and then go to college. Well, if with that year off, you might be like, man, this year was good. I didn't have to go to class. I didn't have to do any tests. I didn't have to worry about no grades. And now you want to go back. Now I want to go back to a 4-year university. I don't know if I want to do that, or a community college. I don't know if I want to go back to that type of life. So it might be hard for you mentally to choose to go back if you decide to take a little bit of time off. But again, it's not always true. Some people, that year off really helped them realize, I don't want to just go to work full time like this. I want to get a good education first and then get a better job. So that might actually be a pro for you, but you just have to weigh your options. Next con I have I put harder to network with people of different backgrounds slash interests. So if you're working full time, most likely, if you're trying to live on your own and not live with your parents, you probably have two or three jobs. So having two or three jobs, you're gonna have a harder time trying to network with people from those three jobs because you're either working or trying to get some sleep before you got to go to your next job or something like that. So it's a lot harder to network and a lot harder, and maybe be a lot harder to move up. But some people can handle that. Some people can work three jobs and make it good with all three managers that they work with, and then actually get a promotion from one of those jobs where they can quit two of those jobs and focus on the one job. So again, that's another pro slash con that can happen depending on how you look at it. The last con that I have for getting a job could be harder. So this kind of so I actually made a pro and a con for this one. Could be harder to move up within a company. So some people or some companies, depending on what company you work for, they only, like, if you go straight from high school to that job, you're only able to do certain jobs. You might not be able to move up past a certain point, where if you have a college degree, you might be able to start at a certain point but be able to move up to a higher level. Again, it depends on what company, it depends on what industry, it depends on your abilities, because really nothing, I don't think anything in life is set in stone. They might say we don't let anybody without a college degree get past being a floor manager, but maybe you're the best floor manager they had. You did above and beyond, and they want to promote you to a manager above floor manager. So, I mean, that could happen, but you want to make sure that you put yourself in a situation where you can actually move up if that's what you want to do. So those are my pros and cons about going straight to the workforce after you graduate high school. Here are a few of my questions you should ask yourself. I think I have 4 questions. So first question, can I work towards my passion without any formal training? So I think in life, you should be working towards your passion. You should be working towards something that you want to do. It doesn't have to be for the rest of your life, but it has to be something that you want to do for your life as it is right now. So can you do what you want to do without any formal training? And if you're a musician, if you've been playing music since you was a kid, you might not need to go to a 4-year university. You can get some training from the internet. You can get some training from people that you already know. So if you can definitely get that training that you need without going to a 4-year university, without going to a community college, without having to spend money or spend a lot of money to get that extra training, why would you want to do that? So definitely, if you can do it without going to or spending a lot of money, definitely go that route. Next question, I'm okay with working multiple jobs. I kind of talked about this already, where if you want or if you have to live on your own after you graduate high school, you might have to get multiple jobs. You might even have to have multiple roommates. So are you okay with having multiple jobs with multiple roommates, with different lives, with different schedules, with different ways that they treat their property or treat their house? Are you willing to do that? And I also put, are you okay with living with your parents? Because some people do have the option to stay at home. While you might not want to stay at home, but it's the cheapest way to go because you don't have to pay rent, or you might not have to pay as much rent, because some parents might be like, even though you're staying with me, you're still young, they might want you to pay a little bit just so you can have some responsibilities. You still have to get a job. So are you willing to have multiple jobs, and are you willing to live at home with your parents or live with roommates? Last question I have that you should ask yourself is, do you think you'll eventually want to go back to school? So maybe I talked about this already too. Maybe you just want to take some time, a breather away from school, away from that type of environment, and then go back to school. Again, do you think you'll be that type of person who will be kind of not wanting to go back after you take that year off? Or do you think you'd be that person and be like, I don't want to live this life and I do want to go back to school? So you have to kind of think about that kind of question which way you think you would be in that situation. And you're the only person who can really answer that question because you're the only person who with yourself 24/7. You're the only person who knows what you like and what you don't like. Or I'm pretty sure you have other people who do know what you don't do or what you don't like, but you are the only person that's inside your head that make those type of decisions. So definitely think about it before you do it. And then I am on finally my last option that I believe you have after you graduate high school is you can start, or if you already started in high school, your own business. High school and even college at this point doesn't talk about the opportunity that you have of starting your own business. Everything in most of the things in education, I should say, because there are some programs that are trying to change, but most of the things in education are about you getting a skill so you can work for someone else for a certain period of time. But there are some people out here who have the ability to start their own business, not just because they have the skill of starting a business or having the skill of that business, but they have the business savvy as well to make money and make a profit. So if you are one of those people, or you want to be one of those people, you can definitely start your own business as an option right after high school. And then, so I have a few pros. First one being you have control of your future. So if you're going to a 4-year university, going to trade school, going to community college, going to the military, you have people who are in control of your time. You have people in control of your schedule, who are in control of your money, who are basically in control of everything that you do while you're on the clock or while you're with them. If you are starting your own business, you have control of that. But just because you have control of that doesn't mean it can actually be a con too if you have control of that, because some people are lazy and they procrastinate and they don't get anything done. So if you do have a business, you're not going to be successful if you do those type of things. But I call it a pro because, again, you have that control. That control is yours of what you want to do. So next pro I put is build life skills you won't get from school. So starting your own business, you're actually in the workforce. You're actually doing something. You're not just learning about something. You're not just learning how to do it. You're not just learning how somebody else did it. You're actually doing it for yourself. Whether you succeed or you fail, you're learning something that a book cannot teach you. You're learning something that a professor with a PowerPoint cannot teach you. So you are almost ahead of the game when it comes to getting that type of experience that you need to be successful. So that is definitely a pro. Number 3, I put get to work with your interest or passion right away. So again, if you're a musician, if you are good with engineering and you can build things, whatever it is that you're passionate about, you get to work with it right away. You don't have to take general education courses before you can take classes that teach you about the thing that you want to do. You don't have to take classes that teach you about what you want to do before you actually get to do what you want to do. You're actually getting your hands dirty right away. You're actually learning while you're on the job, at your job. So that is definitely a pro because you are learning right away instead of learning what it is, which one you're learning with your hands, not just with your head. Pros. One more pro is nowadays there are a lot of free resources out there that you can use to help you build your business. There are a lot of organizations. There are a lot of teams or groups that can help you be successful with your business. I live in Indianapolis. There's this organization called Source River West or something like that, that I actually made an appointment to go talk to about starting my business that I'm starting with photography. And they have a free one-on-one with a business coach that can help you with a lot of different things, from legal to marketing strategy to building the business plan to anything that you need to be successful with the business. There are a lot of free stuff, not just in person. If you want to learn like right now, there's a lot of stuff on the internet with YouTube University, which is YouTube. So there's a lot of ways to be successful with starting your business right out the gate, instead of having to go to school, having to go through a program to get that information. So those are my pros about starting your own business. But as always, there are some cons. So working So when you start a business, it is a lot harder than if you are working for a company, because there's no manual. There is no person that is guiding you step by step to make sure you're successful. Now, I did say there are resources that can help you be successful, but they are not there step by step every step of the way. They are only there at certain points, and you have to fill in those gaps when they're not there. At a job, there's someone with you, if they have good training, with you the whole way. If you mess up, they help you right away. If you don't know something, they can answer that question right away. Where if you're on your own, you might get an answer. Or if you start your business, you might get an answer, but it might not be the answer you're looking for. It might not work right away. It might not work at all. So it's definitely a lot harder. You work a lot more hours than you would if you work a regular job. But kind of going down the line of working a regular job, because you just graduated high school, you probably don't have a lot of money. You're going to have to work 1 or 2 jobs so you can continue living a certain life, so you can get food, pay rent if you have to pay rent, pay your phone bill if you have to pay your phone bill, put gas in your car and that kind of thing. So you still have to work a regular job in order to help further your business. So while you're working your business on the side, you might work 1 or 2 jobs during the day or at night, depending on what job you have. Number 3, this one is a big one, because you always want to get paid. When you work a regular job, every 2 weeks or every 1st and 15th of the month, you're going to get paid a certain amount of money. You probably even know how much you're going to get paid, because you calculate your hours. You know how much you get paid an hour. This much better be on your check. If it's not, you go into your manager. So, but with a business, you don't know if you're going to get paid. You don't know if you're going to be successful. You don't know if someone's going to like whatever you have and pay for it. And if they pay for it, you might have to, instead of keeping that money to buy what you want to buy, you might have to continue to invest that money so you can grow your business. So having a business seems all fun and games, but at the end of the line, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, and most likely it takes a lot of money. But of course, you don't have to have it all at once, but you will have to have more of it as you continue on your path. And then the last con that I have about starting a business is I put big upfront investment with no guaranteed success. And then when I say upfront or big upfront investment, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about your time. You can't just work a business that you just started like you work a 9 to 5. You can't just, if you're working at McDonald's or whatever, I'm just using that as an example, and there's no customers around, so you don't have to do anything, but you still getting paid that same amount that you get paid, whether there's a customer or whether you're just sitting around. If you have your own business, if you're sitting around, you will not get anything. You will not get any clients or customers. You won't get any marketing done. You won't get any sales done. You won't get any products out. If you sell products, you won't get any services out if you provide services. So every minute counts. You can't just say I'm going to start a business and then think it's going to work like that. You actually have to put the work in, unlike some other jobs. But those are my pros and cons about starting a business. I honestly think everyone should try to start a business. And again, when I say start a business, I don't think it has to be something like Amazon. It doesn't have to be something like a big business that I can't think of right now, McDonald's or whatever. It can be a side job. Maybe you're a good artist. Maybe you can paint. Maybe you're good with crafts. You can sell a couple of things on the side, make a couple $100s a month. If you can do that, that's considered a business. But it doesn't have to be something that you want to do for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be something that you want to do full time. It can be something that you enjoy doing. You can possibly make some money by doing it. Okay. So on to some of the questions that I found online as well as what I made up. First question is my business something I'm truly passionate about? I used the word passionate a few times already, but I think in order to be successful, one of the biggest things you need to have is passion. I don't think it's the only thing, and I don't think it's the biggest, but I think it is a big thing that you need in order to be successful. So if you're starting this business, is it something that you think that can make you a lot of money and that's why you're starting it? Or is it something that you truly enjoy doing? Because there will be hard times when starting your own business. There will be times when you're frustrated, when you want to give up, when you don't want to do anything. Those times will be a lot harder for you if you're doing something that you don't want to do. But if you're doing something that you do want to do, you will still get those hard times. You will still get those times where you don't want to do it, but you'll be able to bounce back a lot faster because you're going into something that you're actually interested in. So definitely ask yourself, is it something I'm truly passionate about? Next question. Am I solving a problem that people will pay for to solve? Now, every business might not be a big problem solver. Some businesses are something you're just passionate about and it's not really solving a problem. But those are still can be good businesses. But some businesses you want to have that actually solves a problem that people will actually pay for to get done. So let's see of a problem. Toilet paper. The reason why toilet paper is such a successful at being toilet paper is because people actually need toilet paper. They might not want to pay for it, but they definitely will pay for it because they definitely need it when they're in the bathroom. So is your business solving a problem that people will actually pay for? Next, is the idea that I have for is the idea that you have for starting a business something I can start with little or no money? So there's a lot of businesses, if you do a little bit of research, that you can start with $100, that you can start with $50. Now, of course, the growth of it is going to be very small at the beginning, but if you keep making money, making profit, and putting it back into the company, and you can build that company a lot fast. You can build that company up. So let's say you're selling a product, but right now you only have enough money so you can buy 2 of those products. So you go out, sell those 2 products, and now you have enough money that you made to not only make 2 of those products, but make 2 more off the profit that you made. So now you have 4 of them. Now you can go out and sell those 4 products. You got enough money to make 8, and then go sell those, and then 16, and then whatever, and then you can continue growing like that. So your idea something you can start with little or no money? So can you start it and actually be successful at it with a small amount of money? Fourth question. Can I really stay disciplined enough to be successful? So starting your own business, you have to be disciplined. You have to be passionate because No one is telling you to work 8 hours. No one is telling you what to do. No one is telling you how to do it. You'll have to do that on your own. And if you're not disciplined enough, you might start off good, but then you might end up getting lazy and lazier and lazier, and you end up stop doing it. So do you have that self-discipline in order to be successful, in order to continue building that business? If you don't, you might want to do one of the other options, or you might want to at least start slower, or start maybe a couple hours a night, and then build it up until you have that discipline to continue doing it for as long as you want to do it for. My last question you should ask yourself, if you want to start a business, is, are you willing to work for years without a financial return? So a lot of businesses, they do not make, that person or those people who work for that company do not make any money for, could be years. And I say make any money, I don't mean they don't sell anything. I mean that all the money that they make for selling their services or selling their product is going right back into the company. They're not giving themselves a salary. They're not giving themselves an hourly wage. Everything they make is going back into the company, and they make it bigger. So are you willing to do that for, it could be years before you decide to cut yourself out, or cut the people who work with you out a paycheck? So are you willing to do that? Are you willing to make that sacrifice? Those are the questions I have for you if you want to start a business. Those are the last questions I have for you for this episode. That is all the information I have for you for this episode. I really enjoyed talking about this episode. I think this is going to bring out a lot of different episodes as well. Like I talked about at the beginning, I think each of those different options that I have talked about today, I will be making probably at least one episode about them, maybe more, depending on what the information I can get for it. But I think that is all that I have. Thank you if you are still watching or listening. I really appreciate it. I will continue to make these even if you do not listen, because I enjoy it. I have a passion for it, but I do hope that you listen to it. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer, if you have anything that you think I missed, if you have anything that you just want to talk to me about, please email me at lazenbyexperience. That's LAZENBY experience @gmail.com. I will definitely read it because I have email on my phone, and I want to hear from you guys. So I want to help you guys as much as I can. I don't think there's anything else. Also, yes, there is one more thing. So I do have this available now on YouTube, on Facebook, both at the Lazenby, or actually all of them will be at the Lazenby Experience. So I have it on Facebook, I have it on YouTube, I have it on Anchor, and I have it on Spotify. Those are the 4 platforms I have it on now. I am working on getting them on more platforms. So as I get more platforms added, I will definitely be letting you all know. So if you enjoyed this episode, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a good rating if you enjoyed it. I will really enjoy that. Share it with a friend. Share it with a high school student you might know. Share it with your sister or brother or friend, cousin, anybody. That'd be great. But until next time, continue your journey until you reach your success. Thanks for listening to the Lazenby Experience podcast with me, Joshua Lazenby. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something to help you along your journey to your success. The Lazenby Experience podcast will continue to be available anywhere you listen to podcasts, including Facebook, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. If you really enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating, and write a comment. For any questions, you can reach me at lazenbexperience@gmail.com. Until next time, continue your journey until you reach your success.